When it comes to the state of the German economy, the numbers just don't seem to add up. By most objective measures, Europe's industrial powerhouse is sputtering. Growth has stagnated, manufacturing is slumping, and bankruptcies are at a 7-year high. And yet something curious emerges from the data. German consumers are increasingly upbeat. It's an enigma that defies easy explanation. In July, survey data from the European Commission revealed that consumer confidence in Germany is nearly back to pre-Ukraine war levels, putting it head and shoulders above neighboring France and Italy. This cheeriness comes despite a backdrop of economic struggle. Germany was the only major Euro economy to see output contract in the second quarter. How can we make sense of this paradox? The divergence between sour economic realities and sunny consumer attitudes hints at deeper cultural forces shaping the national psyche. Part of the answer may lie in the secular German virtue of thrift and self-reliance. For generations, typical German families have embraced the ethos of frugality, squirreling away nest eggs to insulate against the vicissitudes of economic storms. This cultural hardiness, forged over centuries, may be providing ballast in uncertain times. The development of real wages has played into this resilience, notes Christian von Berg, chief economist at credit insurer Coface. Consumer sentiment isn't as strong as before the pandemic, but purchasing power has risen. Fading inflation has helped stretch paychecks further. In the first quarter of this year, German workers enjoyed historic real wage growth, the largest since record-keeping began in 2008. It's a counterintuitive trend in a slowing economy, enabled perhaps by Germany's strong labor unions and worker representation laws that prioritized wage hikes over corporate profits. But beyond material factors, we must consider the realm of psychic income as well, those intangible forces that shape communal mood. Could mass public events like the European Football Championship, hosted across Germany this summer, be fueling a current of national optimism? Officials certainly hoped the tournament would provide an economic boost from visiting fans. Berlin alone anticipated 2.5 million visitors for the matches. And while the German team's run ended in the quarterfinals against Spain, the month-long bacchanalia of singing, drinking, and celebration seemed to lift the national spirit. It is highly likely that the euphoria triggered by the European Football Championship played a role in boosting public sentiment, posits Rolf Berkel of the Nuremberg Institute for Market Decisions. However, doubts linger over whether the effect will prove lasting once the party dwindles. Some analysts are more inclined to credit pop culture phenomena. The Euro Cup didn't contribute that much, argues von Berg. On the other hand, the 7 Taylor Swift concerts increased consumption while not necessitating high-stake contributions. Ultimately, Germany's paradox speaks to the multitudes contained within any modern nation. Economic data represents the cold accounting, the columns of revenue and expenditure, output and consumption. But beneath the ledgers, a different story plays out in the warm pulses of human life. In the beer gardens of Munich and the backyard barbecues of the Ruhr Valley, Germans are imbibing the simple rituals and merriments that have sustained them through harder times. Perhaps joy can coexist alongside economic struggle, at least for a spell. Whether this bout of irrational exuberance can endure is another question. Headwinds are gathering, from cresting bankruptcies to the inevitability of Swift's tour departing German shores. The state's coffers may eventually run dry for raising wages amid sclerotic growth. But for now, the German people seem curiously content to whistle a happy tune. To an outside observer, it may appear a form of collective denial. But to the cultural anthropologist, it exemplifies anew the incredible capacity of human beings to cultivate pockets of meaning and gratification, even amid acrid economic winds. In the mystic chords of memory, the German spirit summons echoes of more triumphal eras, when its companies led the world and its people walked with reinvented self-assurance. Those visions may simply outweigh the drab accounting of today's balance sheets. Societies are not reducible to their economic inputs and outputs alone. They are tapestries woven from equal parts material and mystical hard numbers entwinings with the potent forces of culture, history, and identity. The Germans appear to be citizens not just of their nation's GDP, but of a deeper, more subterranean province. Which realm ultimately shapes their path remains to be seen. The smart wager would be on the former, that the fundamentals of industrial output and wealth creation will eventually reassert their primacy and chase away the phantoms of irrational exuberance. Economic gravity is a harsh disciplinarian. And yet, The enduring human talent for hope and self-delusion should never be discounted. This facet of our species has transcended worse circumstances before. For as durable as the forces of economic determinism may seem, the German Volk has a track record of wielding its own equally powerful magic.